I have the pleasure of introducing U.S. Representative Charles B. Rangel. He's a Democrat representing New York's 13th Congressional District. Congressman Rangel has been in office for almost 44 years and is currently the third longest serving member of the House. He earned a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star for his service in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. We are grateful for his service and his presence here this evening, and I invite Congressman Rangel to the stage to say a few words.
Well, I got good news and bad news for you. The bad news was I have prepared a long speech. The good news is I'm not going to give it. After listening to Don express the sentiment of so many people who are just amazed at the progress that Korea has made in the last half century, I think that we should allow his words and the words of all of you that have thought and prayed how God has blessed the people in South Korea to give them the fortitude, the strength, the hope to overcome the obstacles that you've overcome. I can't begin to tell you how a young kid in Fort Lewis, Washington, heard that the communists had overridden the government. I had no clue where Korea was. I was so anxious to get out of Fort Lewis, I was the first one on the boat. And when I left Korea, I could not conceive how this country could ever reach the point that developing countries all over the world have hoped and dreamed for. And yet out of those ashes was built a democracy that seems like almost a signal to God in saying to the North Korean, here is your refuge after you made a terrible mistake. Take a look at what the seeds of democracy can grow, where hunger is not known, ignorance is not there, and weapons are not the prime thing that we build. And so I say that I hope Ed Royce is, if he's not here, the spirit of Korea and Ed Royce, the representative, will always be in the Foreign Affairs Committee. As most of you know, we have introduced a House resolution that supports the unification of North and South Korea, and that's House Con 91. And we truly believe with all of our hearts, and just a little push from our Republican senators, that we can get passed before the end of this session a symbol of not what Republicans and Democrats think, but what a democracy like the United States of America thinks in seeing the unification of the entire people in this peninsula. It's not just for Korea that we do this. We do this for the world in recognizing that no culture, no family should be separated by a handful of people who made this decision over 60 years ago. And we do see some light in terms of whatever you want to call the leadership in North Korea. They're not reliable, they're unpredictable, but we still have to find out the lights in participating in the Asian sports, the release of Ken Bay, which means something, and the fact that they are willing to talk. Where this goes, we don't know. I talked with some of the leaders in China, and they too believe that North Korea is not just a threat to South Korea, it's a threat to the entire region that she is there enacting. And so your support, never giving up, never giving in, never giving out, recognizing that it's a destiny that we have a united Korea. Are we going to do it? You know darn well it has to happen. And we have an example of what can happen when democracy prevails over communism right there in Germany, where the country has boomed beyond expectations. So I'm so proud to have participated like a grain of sand on the beach in seeing this country be able spiritually, militarily, and economically to stand up against the aggressors. And I do hope that you'll be able to say that Charlie Rangel didn't give you this speech and you can get on with your dinner. Kamsahamnida!